God. Alive with it. People still didn't.
Are we live now? I think you guys can hear me, man. Holy shit. Oh my God. It's been a long day, man. It has been a long day. A long day it has been. You're not going to believe. You're not going to believe what happened, man. I'm sitting here and I'm getting everything ready for the podcast. And the one thing I wanted to do when I got home was fall asleep. Now, I was in Texas and there was no internet in Texas. And I couldn't wait to get home and set up this show for the podcast tonight and talk NXT. And I set everything up. And I had set everything up nice. Everything is good. The green screen, the venue's looking good. I look good. The camera's working. The soundboard is all set up. And all of a sudden, I go live. I see my voice coming through the sound system, but there's no sound coming through the podcast on your end. So I look underneath my desk. I had fixed everything the way that I needed. But the USB cord from the soundboard was not plugged into my PC, so you guys weren't getting any sound. So Texas could go fuck itself for making me feel exhausted coming back to New York City, man. Things like that don't usually happen. I'm sorry for the slight inconvenience. I am back to normal. I took a nice little nap today after getting off the plane. Landed around 12 o'clock. I was in Texas today not today, but I was in Texas the last 3 days because I was celebrating a wedding for my friend Jay, who got married in Temple, Texas. Woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, drove an hour and 15 minutes from Temple, Texas to Austin to fly back to Queens. And here I am. I don't think I'll be visiting Texas in the near future again, man. Way too out of my situation to do anything that I need to do. Plus, their internet is fucking awful. Next time I'm getting an Airbnb and this shit's not going to happen. But I am here. I am live. We are good to go. And the podcast is ready to go tonight, man. TakeOver in your house tonight. It is one of those things that I found to be very underwhelming. Yes, Lily attacked the stream once again, man. I guess I can't go into Monday Night Raw tomorrow night making fun of fucking Lily, the puppet. NXT TakeOver tonight, man. I don't know how you guys feel about TakeOver tonight. I know the majority of everybody is feeling the same way about TakeOver in general. They are very hit and miss nowadays. And NXT itself doesn't even feel the same anymore. I think we can all pretty much agree on that. Tonight's show was incredibly underwhelming. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in a Monday Night Raw way. NXT TakeOver tonight was very underwhelming. There's something seriously missing, and it really highlights Triple H's comments a lot more after the TakeOver press conference that he did, or the conference call rather, where he said, fans always jump on Reddit, and they jump online, and they use their keyboards to find out everything before things actually materialize and move forward. They don't want to be surprised. Fans ruin their own surprise moments. They ruin all the element of surprise for themselves. This is what he said. Fans ruin everything. Fuck the fans. Fans are the reason why the product is the way it is right now. People always claim that Monday Night Raw isn't where it should be. SmackDown isn't where it should be. Besides Roman Reigns, NXT is missing a certain element that is clearly missing. If Triple H denies that, he's a fucking blatant liar. Something is missing, man. It's not the fucking fans. It's not the fans. I don't know what else you want to pinpoint as being the problem, but the fans aren't it. Something else is missing. Whether it's a level of excitement, whether it's a top guy that garnered that type of attention, how about you guys book better stories? How about instead of shilling the USA Network and moving NXT to the USA Network and saying it was a great move, that it evolved NXT, which it did not, and claiming that the lead-in from Monday Night Raw is going to benefit NXT in the long run? It's not. It's not. It never would. It never will be. It's never going to happen that way. Everything that NXT has done for itself in the last year and a half has been steps backwards in the product. They are in a state of de-evolution. There's no evolution of the product. There's no conceivable way one could look at the evolution of NXT coming out of 2018 and 2019 and say, the product is better now than it was then. Something is missing. Now, tonight's show, like I said, was underwhelming. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it is very difficult to watch this show and get excited about NXT. What was the difference besides the main event? What was the difference between this show tonight and the stage, I would say, and Todd Pettengill? What was the difference in tonight's show that made it different than a TV taping? Nothing. Nothing about this show was different in any way outside of those three things that I mentioned compared to its normal Tuesday TV taping. This was the epitome of NXT TakeOver being a TV taping environment. Instead of blaming the fucking fans, why don't you start pointing the finger of blame at yourself? Why don't you start pointing the finger of blame at the writing team? Why don't you start pointing the finger of blame on Vince McMahon? Because there are a bunch of things that are happening to NXT that run through NXT, that the main roster does to NXT, that has simply ruined the product. Nobody wants to admit it, though. You want to sit there and hype your women's division. You want to sit there and say, it's the greatest women's division in the world. Meanwhile, then you claim that all the women in pro wrestling want to be in NXT and be in WWE because of said best women's division ever. That no other divisions or organizations exist because you got the best women's division. Meanwhile, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul. We're going to call you Paul now. Triple H sounds too good for you. Gonna start calling you Paul like I call your fucking father-in-law, Vince. You're not the Triple H that we used to remember being the guy that's gonna come in and save the day. Greatest women's division of all time, right? Mae Young Classic was a culmination of 32 women that you collected from other organizations. Your entire women's division right now is a collection of women from other organizations. Your show is not the same as it was then. Then you could have hyped up NXT as being the best brand in North America. Today, you can't do that. That belongs to AEW. Sorry for all the AEW haters out there. That's the truth. They're not perfect, but they're certainly a better product than NXT and Monday Night Raw. And I'd even say SmackDown, because without Reigns, what is SmackDown? It's Raw 2.0. Something is missing. They have to get the fuck out of the Capitol Wrestling Center. They have to. I mentioned this on Tuesday. Get rid of the barricades. Get rid of the fencing. Get rid of the mask mandate. Get rid of all this shit. Because the more you make NXT and the Capitol Wrestling Center the centralized hub of the brand, you ain't evolving. You got to get it out of the Capitol Wrestling Center. That crowd tonight was embarrassing. Oh, there's 300 people there tonight. This is the largest crowd in Capitol Wrestling Center history. How many times did we hear that line fed to Vic Joseph tonight? If AEW touted having 300 fucking people in attendance as being the biggest crowd in any set situation, I would have never heard the fucking end of it. It's embarrassing. They got to get the hell out of the Capitol Wrestling Center. They have to start booking the show better. How many of these matches legitimately did you give a shit about tonight? Did you care about any of the matches tonight? I think the one match that I cared about the most out of everything on the show tonight was the ladder match between LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. The other thing I cared about was Bronson Reed. I was about to say Bronson Reed, but Bronson Reed is probably the best thing on the entire brand right now. Outside that ladder match and Bronson Reed, my personal favorite right now, there's not much to care about NXT at all. And the only reason why we cared about that ladder match was because WWE brought back an iconic title and Ted DiBiase, who we all fondly loved back in the 80s and the 90s. NXT has a problem. It's not the fans. NXT has a problem. It's not anything else. It's Triple H's fucking blindness to accept that the brand just isn't exciting anymore. You can sit there and shill all you want. You could say it's the best in North America. That's fine. That's fine. How many people go out there and say Budweiser's the best beer in North America, or it's America's favorite beer? According to who? According to who? The Yankees are the best team in Major League Baseball. Everybody's a Yankees fan. No, they're not. No, they're not. You can go out there and say whatever you want, whatever you think is the best. Everybody does it. I do it. Every podcaster does it. It's the only place you need. The only show you need on your Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, whatever night. We all do it. But we know we're not. It's almost like false advertisement for Triple H to go out there and say NXT is the best brand. It's not. You need to start doing something that brings excitement to the brand. And Monday Night Raw is not helping. SmackDown's not helping. Vince is not helping either. Because every single person that they take from the main roster, or from NXT to the main roster, they end up changing and they end up ruining. And then you, as a fan, sit there and then you question, why am I watching Tuesday night to get invested in these characters only to see them either fail and be sat in catering for 16, 17, 18 months? Then WWE wants to use them. Or they go up to the main roster and they change their in-ring style, they change their theme music, they change their look, and then they never really get pushed until WWE one day wakes up and says, hey, we should be doing more with this guy. Or if they're on the main roster, hey, we should be doing more with this guy. He never really goes anywhere, and then he gets his termination papers a couple of weeks after that. How could you invest in characters like that, knowing that their fate is already sealed once they walk through the door and Bruce and Vince lay their eyes on them? It's a very underwhelming product. It was a very underwhelming show tonight. But it was good by TV standards. It was good by mediocre NXT standards. Anything on this show, you put that six-man tag with a proper build in front of a large venue, that shit would have been great. You put that ladder match in there with the right winner, that place would have come unglued with Cameron Grimes winning the championship. You got Karrion Kross in the main event, and you threw your entire main event scene at him, and he walks away as the NXT champion. What else is there for Karrion Kross to do? You pretty much said Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly, and Pete Dunne aren't good enough for Karrion Kross in a one-on-one match, We'll just throw them all at him, and then Kross is going to walk away victorious. Now what? Now what? Who does Kross go through next? Is there even anyone else next? It's my question. I don't know. I don't really get it, man. It's very, very sad. NXT is just very, very, very sad. It's like a depressed fucking emo kid waiting for acceptance at school, NXT. It's exactly the best fucking way for me to put it. They are an emo kid who sits alone at lunch, looking for acceptance, waiting to be called over to sit at the semi-cool table. Hey, I've been seeing you walk around the hallway. I like those patches on the back of your fucking backpack. I listen to that band as well. What's your favorite tune? That's NXT. Seems like they're just doing their own thing, nothing's sticking, and then when they have a fucking bad stretch like they've had for the last 2 years, nobody's willing to accept the responsibility of why it's not working. Just blame the fucking fans. I have shilled NXT longer than anybody on YouTube. I was doing the reviews at 1 hour, which is another reason why these shows aren't clicking. 1 hour is where NXT thrives. 2 hours, they're not built for 2 hours. That is becoming more and more apparent every single fucking week. They're not built for 1 hour. I don't know what else I could tell you guys. People telling me in the chat AEW is worse. No, it's not. AEW is built for 2 hours. AEW has actual fans that give a fuck. The Capitol Wrestling Center, you had 350 people there, and nobody did a fucking thing to elicit any excitement. So much so that WWE still had to pipe in, "This is awesome" chants. It's not working, man. NXT is not working right now. Get the fuck out of the Capitol Wrestling Center. But you know why they aren't allowed to go into a bigger venue? They're not allowed to have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people. Those are the numbers Monday Night Raw is going to be pulling, quote unquote, from Dave Meltzer. Their ticket sales are dreadful. Why is WWE ticket sales dreadful, folks? Because the product sucks, which then goes back to what I've been saying for fucking years. Ratings, I guess, do really matter in the subject of WWE. Of course they do. If nobody's watching your show, who is going to show up and pay money to sit there and watch that shit live when you can't even stomach it at home? But NXT's not going to go on the road before the main roster. Why would they be allowed to do that? So they're stuck in the Capitol Wrestling Center, which again proves my point. It's almost as if WWE is setting up in every situation a way to sabotage NXT and make them look worse than the main roster. If the main roster sucks, NXT's got to fall right in line and be just as bad. I dare anybody to take what I said in this open and then try and argue me. You can't. You won't. And if you do, you'll end up like these 4 geeks in the main event tonight. I got news, guys. We're going to go over the Karrion Kross situation. We're going to go over the Samoa Joe situation. Does Adam Cole stay? Does he go? I don't know. I don't really know. We're going to talk about Bronson Reed and Santos Escobar. Seems to be something that NXT is going to continue, which I have absolutely no problem with. Ember Moon and Raquel Gonzalez, though probably the second best match of the night, in my honest opinion, it was done no favors by the constant interference of Dakota Kai, which in turn not only made creative look stupid, but it also made the referee look like a blithering idiot. And we're going to talk about all of the news and rumors coming out of the show tonight as well. Today, sponsored by Manscaped, manscaped.com. You guys know Father's Day is coming up, man. You guys know Father's Day is coming up. If you guys need a gift that is going to get the job done for not only what it's used for, but for Father's Day as well, man, Manscaped is your place for Father's Day this year. Manscaped is introducing the new Lawnmower 4.0 Skin Safe Trimmer. And if you guys want to go and get yourself a lawnmower today, all you guys got to do is go to manscaped.com and use code SCRIPT20. You guys are going to save 20% off the Lawnmower 4.0. That is awesome, awesome, awesome stuff, man. It's 20% off, including free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code SCRIPT20. It's dad bod season, man. It's time to get smooth. So make sure you guys hit that up, man. We'll talk about them a little bit later on in the show. Follow me on Twitter at JDfromNY206. You know what's bothering me? Before I get on with the live stream, you know what's bothering me? I had a fucking hot intro that you guys didn't even hear. You guys heard no pilot, I'm assuming. You guys heard no fucking nice hype up music. You heard nothing in the intro. That shit bothers the shit out of me, man. But anyway, we're here. I can't dwell on the past. A mistake is a mistake. My tiredness fucked me today, man. I blame Texas. Follow me on Twitter at JDfromNY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Make sure you guys go and check out all the other videos that were obviously late this weekend, but are still uploaded, man. We got a super show floating around on the channel. Monday Night Raw, we got Monday. We got Tuesday NXT. We got Dynamite and SmackDown Friday super show. That was uploaded Saturday afternoon. That's live on the channel. Go check that out. And today, Off the Scripts, episode 380 is now live, man. It's doing incredible so far. We talk about the Triple H comments in depth, and we go over that, including all your weekly news and rumors live on the channel right now. So when you guys are done here, go and check that stuff out. They'll all be uploaded to Spotify and iTunes as well later on after the live stream is over. For those wondering where those audio platform podcasts are at. So they will be live after the live stream here is over and done with. And like I said, make sure you guys go and support. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. Patreon.com/JDfromNY206. If you guys want to go get your t-shirts, that is bonfire.com. You guys are going to use that and find all the t-shirts you need there. And like I said, today's show is sponsored by Manscaped. It's manscaped.com. You're going to use code SCRIPT20 for 20% off, man. Let's get into the news, man. I want to start at the top. We got fans attending TakeOver tonight. Apparently, they were not allowed to park near the building. COVID restrictions were lifted, but they were not allowed to park near the building. Now, this was reported by Dave Meltzer before TakeOver tonight. WWE welcomed 300 plus fans in attendance tonight for TakeOver in your house. Dave Meltzer noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio that fans were told to park at Full Sail University, and then the company will have buses to take them to the WWE Performance Center, aka the Capitol Wrestling Center. Meltzer said this, and I quote, "They do not want fans because they are allowing fans for TakeOver this week. They had 80 fans, but now they're going to let 300 in. They don't want anyone parking at the Performance Center or driving to the Performance Center. They are not allowed to park there. They were told to go to Full Sail, and they will have a bus waiting for them to take them to the WWE Capitol Wrestling Center, aka the Performance Center. Now, no parking allowed at the venue. I'm sure they have a reason, but I just thought that was really interesting. I just found that out as of this morning, day of the show, that they told everyone if they want to go to TakeOver to go to Full Sail, and there will be a bus to take them to the Performance Center. Meltzer also added that WWE removed all COVID testing requirements for fans, and there will be no more social distancing and mask requirements. But everybody in attendance today had a fucking mask on. So if you want to shed some of what I'm talking about and why NXT isn't lively anymore. I think the mask mandate, I think, is bullshit. I think Meltzer's got it wrong. I do think that WWE is giving everybody the mask mandate, but eliminating the social distancing aspect. I went to Double or Nothing, and maybe 90% of the audience was sitting there without masks on. So you got to get rid of the barricades. You got to get rid of that ambiance that is really just keeping people in check that, hey, things really aren't changing for the better here. You see shit like that you saw at the beginning of the pandemic, man. It's not a real good vibe. And I don't mean that in a negative way. You can wear your fucking mask all you want. I don't give a shit. But you got to get rid of those things that really were a primary focus during the pandemic. Now that we're coming out of it, you got to get rid of that shit. You really do. So, as far as why WWE wouldn't want fans to park at the PC, I mean, why would they allow fans to park there? You know how fucking crazy wrestling fans are? Can you imagine the fans waiting for the superstars to come into the building and hound them for autographs and pictures and fucking stalkers and crazy fans and all this shit mixed with the talent? That is a recipe for disaster. So WWE is in control of everything. Why would they allow the fans to go to the performance center where everybody trains and everybody does their daily activities? Why would they allow fans to park at the performance center, risking something catastrophic happening with the talent and the fans being mixed together? So WWE said, go park at Full Sail. We'll be in control of how we pick you up and where we drop you off. We'll allow you in the building, and then we'll send you back on your way via the same bus back to the Full Sail University parking lot, and then you can go fucking home. So I don't blame them in that at all. But I also heard from Andrew Zarian on Twitter that WWE had 300 plus people in attendance, and they left a lot of people at the door. They could not fit any more into the building, which is another reason why they got to get the fuck out of there. You're really losing money for people who want to attend and can't because of limitations on attendance. Samoa Joe. I want to talk about this situation with Samoa Joe, man. This was a big rumor going into tonight's show. A lot of people were expecting him to possibly show up tonight. I heard it throughout the show. Samoa Joe is going to show up at the end of the title match and stare down Kross, and he's going to be the next in line to challenge challenge Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship, Samoa Joe. I don't necessarily think that's a good idea. I didn't really think much of it, to be quite honest with you. But Samoa Joe was let go from his talent contract. That's when they had brought in Adnan Virk to the commentary team, moved Corey Graves over from SmackDown to Raw, and they had a three-man booth of Byron Saxton, Adnan, we're going to need a bigger boat, Virk, and Corey Graves. Samoa Joe, nobody knows why he was released. Nobody knows if he asked WWE for his release. Nobody knows if he was cleared or not. Maybe he asked for his release because they wouldn't clear him to go wrestle and he wanted to go wrestle. He doesn't have many more years wrestling in the industry. Maybe he wants to ride out the last couple of years and do something worthwhile instead of sitting on his ass being told that he can't wrestle by people who did the same thing to Edge and Daniel Bryan. He is injury prone, I will say that. Maybe WWE just lost trust in him. How many times can we bring him back? How many times can we pay him if he's going to sit at home more than he is in the ring? So I don't know the situation there with Samoa Joe. They let him go. And he's not the only name that they're talking about bringing back. They mentioned about Aleister Black and bringing him back. There was a report. WWE, some circles in the WWE feel like Aleister Black was prematurely let go. So now they want to bring back these names. I wonder why. They want to bring back these names, but if you never wanted to let them go in the first place, how about you don't fucking fire them? Or how about you do a better fucking job at what your job requires of you and don't let these types of guys go? These guys are difference makers to anybody's roster. They really are. Whether you're a fan of Tommy End or Samoa Joe or anybody, guys like that that never received a fucking fair share in WWE, they will be difference makers somewhere else. Now, Samoa Joe was at the Performance Center this week. Some people inside the Performance Center said that WWE, they wouldn't be surprised if they bring Samoa Joe back. The talent believes Samoa Joe was seen at the Performance Center this week because they feel NXT management is going to bring him back as far as whatever capacity it is, it doesn't matter. They're bringing him back in some way, shape, or form. Some of them believe they're bringing him back as an in-ring performer to NXT. Now, Joe was one of the more surprising names of all 16 that was let go. He was actually cut in April. He had been on the sidelines for over a year. He was an announcer for Monday Night Raw. Started out great, and then he kind of transitioned into being a typical Monday Night Raw commentator, just like they all do. But he suffered a concussion in February 2020 during a Raw commercial shoot for the USA Network. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that many companies are jumping at the fact that Samoa Joe is a free agent. Samoa Joe should be ready to go right around July or so. So he's ready to go. He's got a non-compete clause. Exactly July 15th is when he'll be able to show up and do whatever he wants to do. WWE wants him back. If he signs a new deal, nobody knows what type of role he's going to be in with the WWE. He could be somebody that shows up on the Slammiversary pay-per-view on July 17th for Impact Wrestling. That was also another rumor. But as far as Samoa Joe goes, man, I would have never let him go, number one. Number two, it is in my honest opinion to think that Samoa Joe is better than NXT at this stage of his career. When he first came in, he made an immediate impact. When he first came in, there was a level of excitement that just was great in NXT. He thrived in NXT. He got brought up to the main roster. The aspect of Joe on the main roster with all the talent up there. Samoa Joe against Reigns, AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, you name it. The list goes on with matches for Samoa Joe. He didn't really amount to anything on the main roster. He was always a fantastic promo, but never was able to be a guy that won the big one. He was never really booked in a serious way. WWE would always keep him at a certain level, even though he was injury prone. I always thought he should have been an elite main event guy. He talks like one, he looks like one, he wrestles like one. WWE didn't see it. Now I'm hearing these rumors of Samoa Joe coming back, and it's like, what are you going to do with Samoa Joe now that you didn't do with Samoa Joe in NXT before? You're going to bring him on in because you realize that it was a mistake to fire him. You're going to bring him on in and put him up against Karrion Kross because of your inept creative, booking Kross as a dominant guy, beating all these smaller guys that don't match up to him in any way, shape, or form. You're going to bring in Joe to have one match with Karrion Kross and then do what? Beat Kross? Samoa Joe shouldn't come in to beat Karrion Kross. What type of creative is that? I see a lot of people in the podcasting scene, people in the IWC. Joe coming on in to beat Kross is the best solution. Why? Why is that the best solution? You're pretty much replacing one with the other. Who on the roster is going to be able to beat Samoa Joe? You're right back in the same boat. It's the situation that we're talking about now with Kross. But you're gonna put the title on Joe? They should be looked at as one in the same. I don't really grasp the stupidity of the fucking community. The way Kross is being booked now, he just beat 4 top guys in WWE's main event scene on NXT. But you want to bring in Joe to beat Kross? As far as I'm concerned, the best thing now, after the outcome of tonight's Fatal 5-Way, is for Kross to relinquish the title. He proved everything that he needs to do. Relinquish the title and get demoted to the main roster. The thing with everybody is everybody's a half-witted idiot. Kross has not been pinned. Why would you risk Kross being pinned now from a returning Samoa Joe only to get the same situation with Joe being champion? If Kross doesn't relinquish the championship, then Walter should be the one to beat Kross. That is the only way I would accept a Kross loss. That's it. Either that or give up the title and go to the main roster like Asuka. Asuka never lost. Why do we need to have Kross lose to Samoa Joe? Don't you think Samoa Joe deserves better than to go back to NXT? Think of it mentally. You go from Monday Night Raw as a wrestler to a commentator and then back down to NXT where Vince doesn't give a fuck about the brand? Don't you think Joe wants something better for himself? Don't you think Joe wants a more wide open field of opponents? Don't you think Joe wants to make money? How is NXT going to pay Joe as much as AEW would pay him? This is why I get so animated when the Impact Elite is, oh, Joe's going to Impact. What the fuck does he need Impact for? They can't pay any. They couldn't even pay Andrade. You're going to pay Joe? Joe is not the answer. Then I seen some other people. I even posed it to a couple of people that were texting me during the show. William Regal walked out of the Capitol Wrestling Center tonight claiming that NXT needs a change. Maybe it's best if a change is necessary for NXT. Maybe a change is needed as he walks away. That's the cliffhanger they left you on at the end of TakeOver tonight. Does Samoa Joe come on in and get appointed new GM? Would you be pleased with WWE using Joe as a fucking GM? Someone like that. That's not really what I look at as far as the GM goes. A guy like that, I'm going to want on my TV all the time. Joe is too good to be featured once every fucking 6 shows. How many times do we see Regal on these shows? You need a GM that you don't give a fuck about watching, but he also is powerful in the position and you know he's booking the show. You can't make a fucking pro wrestler an active GM of a show. Not like that. Not with somebody with the promo skill of Samoa Joe. You're going to want to see him on TV every single week, and then that would defeat the purpose of a GM. Why would you want that? You got to scale it back when it comes to these type of situations. I want to see Samoa Joe on TV just as much as everybody else, but I don't want to see him in a situation where I know he could absolutely do better. If I'm Tony Khan, Joe and Black, I don't give a fuck about anybody else. Strowman, Ruby Riott I'd take too. Those are the 3 names. Ruby Riott, Samoa Joe, and Aleister Black. He's already got Andrade. That's it. Leave your Strowmans and your Chelsea Greens and your Mickey James and your Mojo Rawleys and all these other fucking guys that got released. Buddy Murphys. Leave them to go somewhere else. You can't get everybody. You need the people that are going to come in and make an immediate impact on your brand. Now WWE wants to bring Joe back. Now WWE wants to bring Black back. Why? It's all the AEW effect. WWE now wants to bring Joe back. Why? From preventing him from going to AEW and showing up on a random episode of Dynamite like Andrade did. Don't bullshit me. Somebody in NXT sees the value of Samoa Joe. Vince certainly did not. That's my take there on the Samoa Joe situation. If you guys have any fucking questions, meet me after class. Maybe I'll give you some extracurricular activities to do to show me that you're not a bunch of fucking idiots like the entire goddamn community. Once again, guys, I want to thank you very much for joining me on the podcast today. We got 1,400 people inside the venue. Super chats are open. Get them on in. We'll hang out at the end of the show. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. We need about 750 thumbs up on the live stream today, so make sure you guys do that. It helps me out tremendously. So make sure you guys do that. And once again, I apologize for the minor inconvenience about no sound at the beginning of the podcast, but at least you've seen the beautiful venue from the outside. Once again, the show is sponsored by Manscaped.com. Manscaped.com. Use code SCRIPT20 at checkout to save 20% off. Father's Day is coming up. Don't skimp on getting your father a nice gift. I see you, geek. I see you. Father's Day's coming up. Treat him right. Manscaped. NXT TakeOver, man. The set looked great. I love the TakeOver in your house vibe. I love the set. I love the aesthetics of it. In your house, though, back in the day, was a B-level pay-per-view, pretty much to kind of offset and place shows in between all of the major pay-per-views that WWE had back in the day, which primarily are the same now, minus King of the Ring, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. They were placed in the middle of all those empty months before all these major pay-per-views. But the set looked great. It was almost like a take on Saturday night's main event. I love the set. I think WWE did a fantastic job by bringing back the old school intro and Todd Pettengill. I think he is tremendous at what he does, man. And this is a shout out to Todd Pettengill. He sounds so good even in 2020. First of all, he looks fantastic. And he sounds even better. I think he could really be a voiceover guy regularly for NXT if he wanted the position. I don't know if they want him. I don't know if they would give him a contract and sign him to the company again, but he would fit great. You know, this company's lacking people backstage with charisma. He's got it. And he looks damn good at his age, too. So why not? You know, nostalgia is nostalgia. Yes, it feels nostalgic to bring Todd Pettengill back. But when he sounds as good as he does, he could absolutely be thrusted right into the current NXT product and not miss a beat. I think he sounded great tonight. Set looked great. The Capital Wrestling Center was dressed up very nicely for NXT TakeOver in your house. We started the show off with a winner takes all North American and Tag Team Championship match. This was Bronson Reed and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Raul Mendoza, and Joaquin Wilde. This was a perfect opener, the type of opener you want for TakeOver. Solid six-man in-ring action was this match. Started off somewhat slow for the first couple of minutes, and it never stopped after that. Bronson Reed, you could argue all you want about this. You may be a fan of Bronson Reed. You might not be a fan of Bronson Reed. But Bronson Reed, to me, if you look at the entire landscape of WWE, he may be one of the best things not named Roman Reigns on WWE television right now. He is fucking incredible. He is so good and has gotten so good over the time that we've watched him progress and mature coming out of the breakout tournament on NXT. If you guys remember that. Awesome fucking performer, man. And I love how they're taking care of him. They're booking him right. They are protecting him at all costs, which is a great thing. He's got a Samoan background. He should be someone that thrives when he does get demoted to the main roster, just based off his background alone. He is part Samoan. I love how WWE has protected his tsunami splash finisher. I love that WWE always has these little things that are indicative of a Bronson Reed match. Tonight, for example, every time he did a big move, whether it was a seated senton or senton splash, the camera would almost mimic a slight shake of a little earthquake when he comes down with that big girth on the ring mat. I love those little things. Those are attention to detail aspects that I greatly appreciate. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. I did. I thought that was awesome. He's great. MSK, they are two guys that have the old vibe, that essence of what we loved about NXT back in 2018 and 2009. Can you imagine MSK, the way they are now, back in NXT when they had tag team wrestling at the forefront? Can you imagine that? This is the shit I think about. This is the shit that I think about. Imagine MSK back in NXT when NXT was at the top of the fucking wrestling world with their tag team division, the Profits, the Viking Raiders, maybe a Ricochet and Aleister Black, the Revival. Teams like that. We got the Forgotten Sons. I can't leave them out. They were a great team as well. And even before that, DIY. Can you imagine these guys in the old NXT tag team division? It would have been fucking awesome. These guys embody the true essence of what we loved about NXT, and they are one of the bright spots on a weekly Tuesday show that really isn't all that exciting anymore. Legado del Fantasma, awesome performers. They came out. They looked fantastic tonight. Santos Escobar is one of my favorite performers, not only in NXT, but all of WWE. He is so underrated, and it would be a damn shame, downright criminal if WWE doesn't book him the way he deserves to be booked. He is so good. So good. And he looks fantastic. The whole makeup of this group is just great. So the match started off slow, and Mendoza, the Legado del Fantasma guys, they were being beaten down. They had a rough go for about 5 minutes. Then the match really picked up. Mendoza used some high flying to really get going here. Reed shrugged off a series of clotheslines. He then took over. He leveled Mendoza with a clothesline. Reed hits a sit-down splash, and that's when I mentioned the camera did the little earthquake shake, the little tsunami shake with the camera, mimicking how devastating the move was. I like that type of stuff, man. Escobar blind tagged in, hit a soccer-style kick on Bronson Reed. Reed took him down with the crossbody before taking Wild out with a press slam. MSK, they were making frequent tags. Somersault senton from Lee. Reed hit an assisted senton. So the tag team champions were in control over the challengers here until Escobar again made a tag. Carter hit a moonsault out to the floor. Took Wild out. Carter then came in with a dive. Lee and Mendoza hit dives of their own. Bronson Reed hits a fucking splash through the ropes, man. A suicide dive from Bronson Reed. Not something I want to see coming at me, man. He took everybody out. He took everybody out with a tope. So MSK was back in the ring. They were about to hit a double team move, but Legado del Fantasma pulled Carter out of the ring, allowing Escobar to take Lee out. A top rope, Hurricane Karana from Escobar got her near fall, as did an assisted 450 from Joaquin Wilde. Lee finally gets to Reed for a tag. So Reed ran Wilde all over Legado, including a double Samoan drop on Wilde and Mendoza. Reed wanted Escobar to tag in because this is where the singles program is going to come into effect. Wilde took him out from behind, which gave Legado the advantage. Escobar tagged in, hit a Michinoku driver that Nash Carter broke up. Wilde and Mendoza hit a high-low on Carter. Wesley dove in to break up that near fall. Escobar grabbed the belt at ringside. He looked at the belt and he almost became possessed by looking at the North American Championship. He was absolutely in trance over the North American Championship. He was blindsided by Bronson Reed, who came running with a splash through the barricade, through the fencing that took it all out. Bronson Reed splashed Escobar through all of the barricade and squashed him on the outside, taking him out of the match. Mendoza, he was in the ring. A dive was cut off with the super kick. MSK hit an assisted blockbuster. Reed, he pulled down his straps. He goes up top. He hits the tsunami splash on Mendoza. And that was it. 1, 2, 3. And the baby faces, Bronson Reed and MSK, retain the North American and the NXT Tag Team Championships in this winner-take-all 6-man tag. I thought the 6-man tag concept was great because Legado has been feuding with MSK for a little bit. Santos Escobar just kind of inserted himself into the North American title picture after losing the Cruiserweight Championship, which I didn't really like. But the fact that Legado has been feuding with MSK and Bronson Reed is friends with MSK and Santos Escobar kind of targeted Bronson Reed, it all kind of made sense. But we got one of the tag team guys taking the pinfall here. I believe it was Mendoza who took the pinfall here. Santos Escobar was not pinned. He was taken out, so he's probably going to seek revenge on Bronson Reed. So that one-on-one contest for the North American Championship, that feud is still yet to get started. So that's where they're going to go with that. Whether Bronson Reed retains over Escobar, I don't know. He's got a plethora of opponents coming for him. He could get through Escobar, then he's got Isaiah Swerve Scott, who's primed and ready for a breakout role as a single now that he's with Hit Row. He's got some decent opponents. Santos Escobar, Swerve, Pete Dunne. There's no shortage of opponents for babyface Bronson Reed. It's going to be very interesting how WWE continues to book him as he moves up and up and up and gets better and better and better. He's easily one of the best things in WWE. Probably one of the best things on NXT, period. Awesome stuff there. Great opener. We got a comedy segment airing where Pettengill was trying to cut to a video using an old TV and a VHS tape. This video was supposed to recap Mercedes Martinez defeating Xia Li in the Mae Young Classic 4 years ago. So that is the lead-in to Xia Li versus Mercedes Martinez, which was easily the worst match of the entire night. Not that it was a bad match. It was a match that really didn't elicit any excitement at all. The crowd was pretty much dead. Nobody gave a shit about it. I don't know who the crowd was supposed to cheer for. Mercedes Martinez really hasn't been positioned as a baby face. Xia Li is a heel. But Mercedes Martinez hasn't been positioned as a babyface. The crowd doesn't know if they're supposed to cheer Martinez or not. They've been given no reason to cheer Mercedes Martinez. So that is what led to this crowd being somewhat dead for this match. Martinez comes out. Xia Li has this over-the-top entrance. We got Mei Ling, the 1,000-year-old entity that sits in the throne that somehow is powering Xia Li and Boa here. Triple H mentioned in the conference call that the majority of what you see here with Mei Ling and Xia Li and Boa, this is the brainchild of Jeremy Borash. So I'm not surprised that he said that. When I heard that, I was like, that makes sense. And Jeremy Borash was the driving force behind the Boneyard match with The Undertaker and AJ Styles at last year's WrestleMania as well. So, Xia Li's entrance, fantastic. And I love the ambiance of it. I love the blackness and the fire and all of the imagery to go with it. She came out looking like she was ready for Mortal Kombat. She came out swinging a sword. Looked great. But I think that's where the interest in Xia Li stops. When she gets in the ring, I don't think there's really much to sink into with Xia Li. It's all entrance and no substance. She's got that down right, but how far is that going to take her if she eventually gets moved up or moved down the way you look at it? It's all entrance. It's all introduction. But there's nothing that really keeps you interested when she's in the ring. She's fine, but I don't necessarily look at her as somebody that I can't wait to see wrestle. These two women, they didn't have a bad match. It was just a lot of misstep here. It almost seemed like these women don't really gel or work together correctly. They don't work together well. So they traded strikes in the middle of the ring. Lee was in control. Some kicks, some knees, typical offense from Xia Li. Not really any wrestling moves, but a lot of kicks, a lot of back suplexes, knees, strikes. Martinez came back with a butterfly suplex after being on defense for a little bit. Li regained control with an exploder suplex. Martinez avoided a corner attack, hit her cliffhanger for a 2 count. She followed her up with repeated knees to Xia Li. Boa, all of a sudden on the outside, pulls Xia Li out of the ring, preventing Martinez from gaining any more advantage. Martinez pushed him aside and countered a running attack with a back body drop on the floor. So now we're back in the ring. Action's back in the ring. A cyclone kick from Xia Li took Martinez out for a surprise out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. And that was it. After the match, Boa threw Xia Li a chair, but she was about to use it, and Martinez popped up, kicked her legs out from underneath her, and started beating Xia Li with the chair. Even took Boa out with the chair. So all of a sudden, we see the lights flicker, and Xia Li's entrance starts to come back to life again with Martinez standing in the ring with the steel chair. And Mei Ling or Mei Ying, what is her name? Mei Ying? This fucking 1,000-year-old entity. She appeared in her throne, and she's on the ramp. So she stands up. And I'm like, finally, we're going to find out the identity of this 1,000-year-old entity. So she stands up, and Martinez is there. She's like, bitch, you want to go? I ain't afraid of you, bitch. She starts walking towards Mei Ying, and all of a sudden, they stare down. Martinez went to go hit her with the chair, and Mei Ying grabs her with a Tonkin death grip right underneath the throat, starts squeezing the jugular of Mercedes Martinez, grabs her by the neck, not once, but twice, because Martinez got a chair shot in there, right to the midsection. She no-sold it, takes the grip of the jugular, and throws Martinez off the stage, and that's the way the segment ended. They all look down, all 3 of them, at Mercedes Martinez, and they walk away. Does anybody know who this individual is? Who is this 1,000-year-old entity that is somehow powering Xia Li? I'm very curious to know. Is she going to be a performer? JD, why do you like this so much more than the Alexa Bliss shit? I don't see any fucking fire. I don't see any magic. I see a lot of hocus pocus shit. I see somebody that looks like death on my screen, but I have no backstory yet, so I can't really gauge if I like it better than the Alexa Bliss shit. Anything is better than the Alexa Bliss shit with fucking Lily. But it's almost in the same vein. But there's no magic here. I'm waiting to see the backstory on this Mei Ying, this 1,000-year-old entity. We don't know anything yet. But that is more interesting than whatever Xia Li is doing. Everything surrounding Xia Li is more entertaining and interesting to me than Xia Li herself. Mercedes Martinez is, I don't know. Apparently there's rumors that she's going to be Eva Marie's bodyguard. This may be it for her. I mean, what else is Mercedes Martinez? She already lost to Raquel Gonzalez. They fed her to Xia Li here. She got thrown from the stage by a 1,000-year-old fucking ghostly creature. What else is Mercedes Martinez going to do in NXT? She may be buried on the main roster by being Eva Marie's new bodyguard. Can't wait to see how well that goes over. Ted DiBiase. We got a great video package discussing the history and the legacy of the $1 Million Championship. Great video package there. He made his entrance and he sat down right at ringside to watch this ladder match unfold. The $1 Million Championship was encased in this gold briefcase with the see-through glass. Looked great. I love the $1 Million Championship. One of my favorite championships of all time. And I don't necessarily feel NXT needs another championship. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't think this is going to be a championship that's going to be defended regularly like you would book a North American Championship match or a tag team title match or a women's title match. I think it's just going to be a symbol that Ted DiBiase has passed his legacy onto who he thinks is the next in line to take over that essence of the $1 Million Man. It's going to be very similar to the FTW title that Taz gifted Brian Cage on AEW Dynamite. That title was really never defended, and I think that's the way the $1 Million Championship is going to be defended as well. Very rarely. Very rarely. I loved the interactions between Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase, the vignettes leading up to the reveal of Ted DiBiase being the one behind all of Cameron Grimes' troubles. Then LA Knight got involved, and that's where this storyline kind of took a turn for confusion. Because WWE introduced Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase together, and we all thought that it was going to be Ted DiBiase helping Cameron Grimes get to that next level. Everybody loves Ted DiBiase. The reason why a lot of people were interested in this match tonight was because you were all a fan of Ted DiBiase in the 80s and the 90s. I know I was. He's one of my favorite heels of all time. He's part of my favorite tag team of all time, believe it or not. Fun fact that you might not know about me, Money Incorporated is my favorite tag team of all time. Them and the Hart Foundation, Demolition, and I even love the Quebecers, man. Johnny Polo and PCO. Jean-Pierre Lafitte. The Quebecers, the Mountie. Unreal, man. The throwback right there. But this was supposed to get Cameron Grimes over. Then they introduced LA Knight, and LA Knight instantly kind of threw everything for a loop. He was so much more of what Ted DiBiase was looking for. He fit the mold of the $1 Million Legacy. He's got the car. He's got the girls. He's got the mansion. He's got the look. He's got that movie star, rock star look. He legitimately had everything Ted DiBiase was looking for. Cameron Grimes didn't have any of that until they played the storyline where he was investing in Bitcoin or Dogecoin, Doggy Coin. But LA Knight, they always told the story of him already having that because of who he is. I mean, look at his fucking name, L.A. Knight, you know? Then LA Knight gets involved, and we don't know where any of this is going. There was a segment, $1 Million Face-Off, where we thought that Ted DiBiase was going to help Cameron Grimes get over. Ted DiBiase ended up, quote-unquote, walking out with LA Knight. We all thought, per storyline, all right, well, Ted DiBiase's using LA Knight to teach Cameron Grimes a lesson. He's eventually going to turn on LA Knight and join Cameron Grimes when he wins whatever match they're supposed to have. Then tonight's outcome, which was very bizarre. The outcome of tonight's match was very, very weird, man. Downright confusing as far as the booking is concerned. LA Knight beats Cameron Grimes to become the new $1 Million champion. And I don't really have an explanation for why LA Knight is the new $1 Million champion. The match was fine. But it wasn't as exciting as I expected it to be. In fact, I'm going to go out there to say and admit to everybody how I really feel about this. I honestly think at the end of the year, when you look at all the ladder matches that happened this year, this may be the worst ladder match that's pro wrestling seen in 2021. Not that it was bad, but they didn't really do anything outside of what you usually see in a ladder match. They didn't take any over-the-top risks that were, oh my God. They didn't really go in there and try and change the game as far as ladder matches go. And the outcome really also played into a factor that I didn't really care for the ladder match when it was all over. In fact, it may have been one of the worst booking decisions that NXT made all year. There was nothing exciting about the match. It was just you trying to wait for the outcome of the match, and the journey to get there wasn't really as exciting as I expected it to be. But I love LA Knight. LA Knight's one of my favorite acts on NXT. Cameron Grimes, you know, he's highly entertaining, and he's a damn good professional wrestler. I just don't see the excitement in this. I'm not really a ladder match guy anymore now because of the overabundance of ladder matches. I mean, we're getting Money in the Bank next month. How many ladder matches have we seen this year already? We've seen quite a few on AEW already. We've seen quite a few on WWE already. Not really what I find exciting anymore, especially the last couple of years. WWE has, I believe I stated last year that the ladder match was primarily a go-to match for WWE last year. Just because they needed some sort of excitement. How much more could you do in a ladder match that we haven't seen already? It's very difficult to stand out in these type of matches. I think we've seen too much of them, and every time we see them, it just waters down the concept and the gimmick more and more and more. But the only reason why we cared about this ladder match and was excited about this ladder match was because Ted DiBiase introduced his $1 Million Championship to the conclusion of it. So they went back and forth for a little bit. Couple of sequences back and forth. Knight was the first to set the ladder up. Both men climbed it. Knight sent Grimes to the floor. They fought over a ladder again before Knight grabbed another ladder. There was two size ladders here. There were a bunch of black ladders around ringside, and then the big one that was always going to come into play as the ending shot, the gold ladder, which was on the stage. So I guess whoever grabbed the gold ladder was the one to climb the golden staircase to retrieve the $1 million briefcase. So they fought over a ladder. Grimes got the advantage by pushing Knight and the ladder into a barricade. Grimes, he took the fight. Instead of climbing the ladder, after throwing him into the barricade, instead of climbing the ladder, he went outside to take the match on the floor with Knight. Knight sent Grimes into the barricade, smashed him with the ladder. Knight continued to send Grimes into the ringside area, the steps and the barricade. And Grimes eventually turned it around. Knight popped up and took Grimes down again. And Grimes, he tried to make a comeback later in the match. Knight sent him into a ladder. Knight leaned the ladder against the ropes before propping another one up on the top turnbuckle. Grimes reversed a Irish whip and sent Knight face first into the top portion of the ladder. Ladder fell down to the outside. He got some kicks in. Knight pulled Grimes' hair, sending him hard into the mat. Grimes then countered a LA Knight running attack with a back body drop onto a ladder. Knight was sent over the top rope onto a ladder bridge, which was one of the more brutal bumps of the match. Grimes went after the gold ladder on the stage. So he exits the ring, he walks up the stage and grabs the gold ladder. He climbed it, made it to the belt, but Knight met him at the top, and Knight fell off, but he was able to push the ladder over, sending Grimes crashing into the top rope down to the mat. So we got a double down here. Knight set up more ladders to create a bridge over the ropes. Grimes surprised him with a thrust kick. Knight hid behind DiBiase's security and DiBiase on the outside, allowing him to take Cameron Grimes out for a little bit. Knight whipped Grimes into a ladder, but Grimes climbed it and grabbed onto some staging when Knight pushed the ladder away. So one of those metal rigs that is in the Capitol Wrestling Center, Grimes was on the ladder and Knight pushed it off. Grimes jumped to one of these metal rigs to get away. He then leaps off this, does a crossbody onto LA Knight. They come crashing down to the floor right in front of DiBiase. And what was a terrible production shot, you saw Cameron Grimes and LA Knight on the floor with the referee. And Grimes, it was like a prolonged shot. They didn't shoot away. You seen LA Knight talking to Cameron Grimes about the next few sequences that were going to happen towards the end of the match. They should have immediately cut away, man. This was amateur bullshit. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. Let me know if you did. I thought that was terrible. A lot of talking shown between both guys after that big spot off the ring. So Grimes climbed the gold ladder. Knight tried to powerbomb him out of the ring, but Grimes turned it into a hurricanrana. Grimes was in the corner. He shouted, "To the moon!" So he was about to reach the championship. But Knight pushed the ladder over, sending Grimes onto a ladder bridge that was on the stage. Knight climbed the ladder. He unhooked the briefcase and wins the $1 million championship. It's such a weird decision, man. You know, I get it. LA Knight's a heel. The crowd was very pro Cameron Grimes, man. They were all over Cameron Grimes. If this was a bigger venue, I think Cameron Grimes winning would have tore the house down at a regular TakeOver setting. But this crowd tonight wanted and waited through this boring ladder match, wanted and waited for Cameron Grimes to win this match. LA Knight wins. Now, I get it. A heel looks better with the briefcase. Does Cameron Grimes and LA Knight continue their feud over the $1 million championship? Possibly. Does it going to a heel and then LA Knight dropping it to Grimes later on during SummerSlam weekend? Is that what their plan is? I don't really get the logic in that booking. This was the moment. This was the moment. You pitted both of these guys with the $1 million championship on the line. This storyline was made for Cameron Grimes, and you did not give it to him. Cameron Grimes looks like a loser. This is one of those booking decisions that it may be very difficult for WWE to book Cameron Grimes to come back from. This was tailor-made for him. Now, there was a report. I don't know if you guys watched Off the Script this weekend. I literally uploaded it this afternoon. If you didn't watch it, go and check it out. There's a report in the video on the podcast this week where Vince McMahon is looking for more NXT call-ups. He's looking to replace all those people that he released through NXT. And the one thing that he's looking for is character. He wants characters from NXT. But NXT doesn't really have a lot of characters. Everybody's a pro wrestler on NXT, or what the IWC calls vanilla midgets. There's not really many characters on NXT. You got Dexter Lumis, and you got Cameron Grimes, and that's about it. The reason why Rick Boogs got called up to SmackDown, which we still don't have an explanation as to why he's paired with Shinsuke Nakamura. The reason why Rick Boogs was called up from NXT before even having a single match and a push on NXT television was because he's a character. Vince saw his character. Vince wanted his character on the main roster. Did Cameron Grimes lose this match because Vince wants Cameron Grimes, who's a character in NXT, on the main roster? Are we going to see the hillbilly millionaire on the main roster? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be a good thing for Cameron Grimes. Let me know what you guys think about that. But LA Knight should have not won this match. Cameron Grimes should be the $1 million champion. No question. NXT Women's Championship. Raquel Gonzalez with Dakota Kai against Ember Moon. This was probably my second favorite match on the show. And the main event was my number one. I thought these ladies did a fine job for the NXT Women's Championship. Very good match. Nice showcase for Moon. She is somebody that I was very much into on the main roster. I hated that WWE dropped the ball on her. I was very pleased to see her change and mature and shed that old main roster gimmick for what she's doing now. I like the pairing of her and Shotzi. I think they work very well together. I do think eventually an Ember Moon heel turn is going to benefit her more when she turns on Shotzi. But I don't know if WWE could really afford to do that right now because they don't really have any women's tag teams in NXT, which I cried wolf about. It's the same situation in NXT as it is on the main roster, but somehow geeks in the IWC think we need women's tag team championships in NXT. We don't. We never did. And now, as you see, I stand correct again. Ember Moon looked great here. She's doing a fine job in NXT. Nobody thought she was going to win this match. Raquel Gonzalez basically won this championship just around WrestleMania time. At WrestleMania, really. NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver on night one. And she didn't really have many title defenses. This was her second title defense since winning that championship from Io Shirai. She beat Mercedes Martinez, and now she's got Ember Moon. Does Shotzi go after it next? I don't know. But Raquel Gonzalez, WWE is really hyping her up as being as great as they think she is. She's not there yet. But I dare say that if you go and find somebody on the roster that's gotten better in such a short amount of time, the only one I can think of is Bronson Reed. And Raquel Gonzalez is on her way to becoming legit great. She's got the look, she's got the size, she's got the presence. She's going to get there eventually, man. She's doing the things that she needs to do correctly. In the last 12 months, this is the one thing I love about watching pro wrestling. You watch somebody like Raquel Gonzalez and her grow and her mature and her get better. You see an obvious difference, man. I was not a fan of her at all. I thought she was generic and green as fucking grass 12 to 15 months ago. Now you look at her, she's like a completely different woman. Completely different woman. You see it. So good on her, man. These are the types of opponents that Raquel Gonzalez needs. She needs an Ember Moon. She needs a Shotzi Blackheart. She needs a Toni Storm. She needs that level. She needs an Io Shirai. She needs people like that. She needs women like that that are going to lead her and make her better. Make her understand what she needs to do. Get her timing right. Get her footing right. Get her communication right. Get her just presence in the ring right. That's what she needs to do. And this was no exception. This was an excellent match between two great, legit female professional wrestlers. So Moon came out firing immediately. So there was a situation where Gonzalez sent Moon to the barricade on the outside with a shoulder block. Out on the floor, Gonzalez continued to beat down Ember Moon. Gonzalez maintained control for a little bit until Moon kicked her way out of some offense from Raquel in the corner. She went for a diving code breaker, which was not mentioned on air. But Gonzalez caught it, planted Moon with a sidewalk slam, a twisting Vader bomb for a 2 count by Raquel Gonzalez. Moon tried to fight back with some stiff strikes before a thrust kick caught Gonzalez right in the face. Another series of kicks. She took Gonzalez down with a forearm. Moon hit a code red. Sloppy-looking code red, but a code red nonetheless for a 2 count. She locked in a modified deathlock until Dakota Kai assisted Gonzalez by helping her reach the ropes. So that's 1. Gonzalez and Kai regrouped on the floor, and Moon took out Raquel Gonzalez with a tope suicida. Really nice. Ember Moon's got a great tope suicida because she goes through the bottom rope, Darby Allin style. It gets more speed and momentum that way. Back in the ring, flatliner from Moon, got a 2. Kai, again, distracted Moon while Raquel was climbing the ropes, allowing Gonzalez to take control with a superplex. So Gonzalez went for her one-arm powerbomb, but Moon turned that into a cradle for a near fall. Gonzalez came back with a big boot for a near fall of her own. She went for an inverted suplex. Moon turned it into a modified eclipse. Moon then gained control here. Jawbreaker, followed up with a diving code breaker. Eclipse. She nailed the eclipse. She goes for the cover on Raquel Gonzalez. And Dakota Kai, for the 3rd time, interferes in this match and puts Raquel's foot on the rope, and the referee sees the foot on the rope to break the count. Dakota Kai introduced herself into this match 3 different times. The referee, the first 2 times, should have kicked Dakota Kai out of the match. When Dakota Kai physically got on the apron to stop Ember Moon, which led to the superplex by Raquel on Ember Moon, that is when the referee should have said, enough is enough of this shit. Get the fuck out of here. Referee looks like a dumbass. What's even worse, it took Dakota Kai 3 times to interfere in this match to finally get Shotzi to come out and stop all of this bullshit. Shotzi Blackheart appeared. She ran down the ramp, ran down to the ring. She chased off Kai, sending her into the staging, threw her into the in-your-house set, threw her into some potted plants. So Gonzalez was all by herself now, without Dakota Kai. Gonzalez fled to the ring apron. Moon climbed up to the ropes, hit a tornado DDT on the ramp. Moon then rolled Gonzalez into the ring. Gonzalez kicked out after the DDT. She went up top, went for the Eclipse. Gonzalez caught her in mid-Eclipse and turned it into a one-arm powerbomb for the 1, 2, 3. Why did we need Dakota Kai to interfere in this match 3 times to finally send Shotzi out? If she was back there all along, why didn't she come out after the first fucking time? Why didn't she come out after the second time? She comes out after the 3rd time. The referee looks like an idiot. Shotzi looks like an idiot. And what does it do? Does any of this lead to any added intrigue in this match? Are you more intrigued by all of these false finishes with Dakota Kai's interference? When we all knew Raquel was going to win the match anyway, and when Raquel won the match clean, without any Dakota Kai help, what was all of that bullshit for? You just made everybody look like a blithering idiot. Raquel Gonzalez wins this match. She retains the NXT Women's Championship, and that was it. Who she moves on to next, I don't know. WWE has Io Shirai back on television, thank God. I thought she was going to be fed to Bruce's fucking catering crew. Or Charlotte Flair, worse, Charlotte Flair. You got Io Shirai, you got Shotzi. Toni Storm needs something to do. WWE's got that other Joshi shit sitting around doing nothing. Sarai, Stevie Ray, sitting around doing nothing. WWE also pushed heavily Xia Li being undefeated. Maybe Xia Li's the next in line for Raquel Gonzalez. I don't know who's going to find that interesting, but who is Raquel Gonzalez's next opponent? Best women's division in the world. You'd think you'd know. I have no fucking clue. WWE announced the Great American Bash is coming back to TV. NXT's Great American Bash, Tuesday, July 6th on the USA Network. They also went over the lineup for NXT on Tuesday night. Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher versus the Grizzled Young Veterans in a Tornado Tag Team match and Kushida's Cruiserweight Championship Open Challenge. Guys, before we get into the Fatal 5-Way, which was crazy, I'm not going to go over it all because there's just so much to get into, man. It went nearly 30 minutes. I'm not going to break it down move for move, step by step, sequence by sequence. We're going to pick up towards the last 10 minutes or so. But before I get into that, guys, I want to thank you all for joining me here on the podcast. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on your Sunday night. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at JDfromNY206. Frankie Monet, says Mr. Cake. That's another one, but she's got to win matches first. Social media at JDfromNY206. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up as well. We are looking at 553 thumbs up. Make sure you guys go and hit that thumbs up for me, man. Let's try for 750. And if you do around here, hit that subscribe button, man. We are on our way to having a great fucking post show after that little hiccup in the beginning, man. So thank you guys very, very much for sticking around with me. Shit happens, man. I'm such a perfectionist, it's still bothering me. But I'm glad you guys are here. Manscaped is sponsoring the show today, man. Manscaped.com. Use code SCRIPT20 at checkout to save 20% off your entire purchase, man. Father's Day is just around the corner, and you probably need a gift for your hairy father. I know, my dad's pretty damn fucking hairy, man. God help me if he's listening to this, but he knows it. He knows it. Make your dad proud this year and get him and yourself the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. You guys seen it in the beginning, man. Manscaped 4.0. The Ultra Smooth package as well was just added to the shop on Manscaped. You know what they say, like father, like son. Yeah, like Vince, like Triple H. That was actually the title of today's Off the Script. Like father, like son, man. The brand new Lawnmower 4.0 and the Ultra Smooth package is the perfect gift for you and your dad this Father's Day. And it's going to complete your grooming game, man. Save 20% off using code SCRIPT20 at manscaped.com. Now, I love investing in the best new technology, man. It doesn't matter what it is. Anything for my podcast, I invest in everything that comes out that's new that could help me, man. And I love advancements in technology as well. I was blown away by the Manscaped 4.0, man. I love it. The craftsmanship, it feels great. The details in the craftsmanship, I love it. I love it. If you want to get the complete package, the Manscaped Ultra Smooth package is a 3-step kit to help you keep your family jewels protected. Step 1, they got a crop exfoliator. It's infused with ingredients that soothe and clear the skin around your groin, feeling refreshed, reducing the risk of ingrown hairs. Then they got the crop gel. See where you're shaving with their unique clear shaving gel just for your little boys down there. And then it's time to shave. They got the crop shaver. That was designed for shaving the groin area with confidence. And they got 3 precision blades that include extra wide lubricating strips and a pivoting head for the ultimate groin grooming experience. All 3 of these vegan, cruelty-free, sulfate-free products are included, so you know your manhood is in good hands. 20% off, guys. Code SCRIPT20. Manscaped.com. Free shipping with that code as well. It's dad bod season, man. Get yourself and your father something nice for Father's Day this year. It's time to get smooth. Manscaped, and I want to thank them for sponsoring today's NXT TakeOver post show for In Your House on Off the Script. Fatal 5-way. Karrion Kross with Scarlett, Adam Cole, Bay, Pete Dunn, Kyle O'Reilly, and Johnny Gargano. Fatal 5-way for the NXT Championship. This was, I don't want to say slow to start. It got really ramped up towards, I would say, the last 15 minutes or so. And it was a ton of false finishes, a ton of back and forth. Everybody got their time to shine in this thing. But the one thing that was abundantly clear in this match was that Karrion Kross was given these 4 guys in this single match instead of having him run through them individually, instead of doing a Kross versus a Pete Dunn, or a Kross versus a Gargano, or a Kross versus an O'Reilly, or worse yet, a Kross versus an Adam Cole, which I don't think would have ever been the right choice of opponent anyway. None of these guys would have been. What was abundantly clear in this match, and you've physically seen it, everybody's offense against Kross looked ridiculous. None of them would have made sense one-on-one. The only one that would have made sense, and I don't even think he would have made complete sense, but he would have been better than the rest, was Pete Dunn. Pete Dunn would have made the most sense one-on-one. But Pete Dunn and Karrion Kross is not really a main event takeover level match. Adding 5 of them together in one match is a takeover main event match. It's easier for WWE to sell it that way. Dunn was never going to beat Kross. Gargano doesn't even make sense. He just lost the North American title to Bronson Reed, yet he gets thrusted right into a NXT Championship situation. Johnny Gargano, love him to death, doesn't belong there. Kyle O'Reilly is not a main event guy. He hasn't been booked as a main event guy. Adam Cole is a main event guy, but he hasn't wrestled since he lost to Kyle O'Reilly at the last TakeOver. Pete Dunn, who has he beaten? Not many. Not many. So exactly, creative. How does this match make sense creatively? It doesn't. Kross would have never worked with one of these guys one-on-one. The reason why they added Adam Cole and this fatal five-way to the main event of TakeOver in Your House was because it gave Kross a chance to have a match that gave the fans a little bit of unpredictability. That was it. The level of unpredictability in this thing, even though it was still somewhat predictable, was better than having him go in there against any one of these guys one-on-one. Adam Cole was put into this match specifically not because he's a main event guy, but because Adam Cole has been rumored to be called up to the main roster for months now. And with him in that match, it would have made more sense compared to everybody else to him for walking out as NXT champion, because he could have pinned Kyle O'Reilly, he could have pinned Pete Dunn, he could have pinned Johnny Gargano. Any one of those guys would have made sense. He's feuded with all three of those guys. He could have walked out as NXT champion and not pinned Kross. Kross could have said goodbye to NXT, off to the main roster you go to get buried by Bruce and Vince, and Adam Cole could reign as NXT champion again, and NXT could go back to that smaller guy champion, that workhorse champion like Adam Cole. But they didn't do that. He was only there to throw a wrench into the predictability aspect that was very abundant and very clear with Kross in this thing anyway, one-on-one with any one of these guys. So it was either Cole or Kross, and that was it. If Kross lost to Cole, who would have been the only logical outcome of the other guys in the match, if Kross lost to Cole by Cole pinning somebody else, Kross was probably destined for the main roster. But like I mentioned in the beginning, you're not going to beat Karrion Kross. If he loses this match, then he loses, and a loss is on his record. He lost the NXT Championship. If Kross wins this match, you're looking at Adam Cole and saying to yourself, what else is there for Adam Cole to do? He was only put into this situation to aid in the predictability aspect. Now is Adam Cole, a loser, on his way to the main roster? What else is there for Adam Cole to do? What is Adam Cole going to do on NXT? Is he going to feud with Kyle O'Reilly? I don't think anybody's interested in seeing that again. Is he going to feud with Gargano? Nobody's interested in seeing that again. Is he going to feud with Pete Dunn? For what? Kross wins, Cole buried. It's the way I look at it. Karrion Kross walked out of this match as NXT champion. What's next for him? He beat all of the top guys on the brand. Does he get Walter? Does he relinquish the title? Does William Regal get him to relinquish the championship and he goes on to the main roster? All of this situation with William Regal stems from what happened with these five guys. You got parking lot brawls between O'Reilly and Gargano. You got bullshit happening between Pete Dunn and whoever else is there in the match, Kyle O'Reilly. You got all these guys intertwined. Kross making matches on his own, telling William Regal, this is my show. What if Kross is traded to the main roster? What if Kross is traded? What if Regal relinquishes the NXT Championship, takes it away from Kross? He's not beaten. What if Regal takes it away from him because Kross is the center of all these problems? With Kross as the champion, it's only going to continue. Is that the change that William Regal is talking about? Because like I mentioned in the beginning, I don't see Kross losing the title. Why would you ever book him to lose the championship now to anybody? Samoa Joe's not the answer. Walter is the only answer, but no matter how much of a dream match that is, or a dream scenario, dream booking scenario, I don't see WWE giving Walter the NXT UK and the NXT title together. Even though I'd love to see it. I don't see them doing that. So is the change William Regal talking about him showing up on Tuesday and having Kross relinquish the title, forcing him to get the fuck out of there, or him taking this change into his own hands, and he talked to the main roster and management on the main roster and has elicited a trade? Does Kross get traded and NXT gets somebody? Maybe Kross goes to SmackDown and we get Kevin Owens on NXT. Maybe Kross is traded to Monday Night Raw and we get somebody traded from Monday Night Raw down to NXT. Maybe we get Kross on Raw and we get Ricochet back on NXT. There's multiple ways you could spin it, multiple ideas out there you could do. But I don't think Kross beating these guys and having him lose to Samoa Joe, who magically shows up, is the right idea. I don't think Kross losing at all is the right idea. The only one that Kross should lose to is Walter. And again, like I told you, I don't see WWE doing that. But that's what I would do, and that's what I want, personally. The match itself was great. The last 15 minutes or so were fantastic. This was really, really good stuff. We're not going to talk about it all because it was all over the place. It really was all over the place. We're going to take it up from when Cole was in control. So we got Dunn. He had a standing Kimura lock. I believe it was on Karrion Kross. And then he transitioned into a triangle hold. Gargano took them down with a slingshot spear. Then Cole comes in with a Ushigoroshi on O'Reilly. That got a near fall 2 count. Cole and Dunn had a little exchange of forearms in the ring. Dunn went for his corner backflip. Cole and Gargano countered with super kicks. He did the backflip off the top rope, and Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano stereo super kicks to Pete Dunne mid-flip. It reminded me of the Ricochet move where him and Cole had that takeover match. Ricochet did that Asai moonsault springboard off the second rope, and Cole met him with a super kick. Same situation, only this time he was paired with Gargano, and they did it to Dunn. So that was a beautiful move. Gargano locked both Cole and Dunn in the Gargano escape. O'Reilly broke it up. He and Gargano had a little strike exchange. Riley finished it with a brainbuster. He climbed to the top, but he was sent to the floor by Adam Cole. He then hit Panama Sunrise on Johnny Gargano. Dunn pulled him out of the ring. What a ridiculous cover there by Adam Cole. Adam Cole hit the Panama Sunrise late in the match on Johnny Gargano. He went to go cover Johnny Gargano and laid out, making the cover as if he was laying down on the fucking beach in Panama, legitimately. Instead of going and hooking the leg like a normal pro wrestler, he lays out flat, full body, allowing himself to get pulled out of the ring by Pete Dunne, who then met him with a brainbuster on the fucking floor. So Kross, he got thrown into the announce desk. He got powerbombed, actually, on the announce desk by Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, who had a rare moment of undisputed era bliss. They double-teamed Kross. He got powerbombed on the table. He was laid out for about 5 minutes, sleeping underneath the announce desk, telling Wade Barrett how beautiful his dress shoes were tonight. So Kross eventually popped up from the announce desk as Dunn was in the ring. He invited him in the ring, so we had a nice little stare down between Dunn and Kross. Dunn was going crazy on Kross, forcing him to cover up with some strikes. Kross hit a German suplex on Dunn. Dunn no-sold it, popped up, hit one of his own, followed by a bitter end on Kross. This was one of those sequences that I thought a one-on-one match between these guys for a regular NXT TV taping would be great. I could believe in Pete Dunne's offense against Karrion Kross. So we got the bitter end, and Kross kicked out for a great near fall. Dunn immediately locked in a triangle, but the other three broke up the hold. So they all came in from sleeping, and they broke up the hold. Dunn, he was taking care of his opponents with kicks before catching a low blow by Adam Cole, and he did the finger break spot on Adam Cole. Kross broke up all of this with a double doomsday Saito. The Kross jacket followed. Dunn then popped up and snapped Kross's fingers to break the hold, and Kross sold this beautifully. I loved his reaction to the finger break of Pete Dunne. So Kross, he had his fingers broken. Gargano comes in with the one final beat on Pete Dunne. Kross locked on the cross jacket on Gargano. Gargano then jackknifed over for a cradle on Karrion Kross for a 2 count. Kross maintained the hold, though. So Cole hit the last shot on Kross, and he was chopped down by O'Reilly, who then hit a diving knee off the top rope on Kross. Cole broke up the cover with a super kick. O'Reilly avoided the last shot by Cole, locked on a heel hook on Adam Cole, who was about to tap out, and then a long drawn-out submission hold finally saw Kross lock on the cross jacket on O'Reilly, who still had the submission hold, the heel hook on Adam Cole, and he eventually dragged O'Reilly off of Cole, and the referee stopped the match because Kyle O'Reilly passed out. So O'Reilly, who never should have been in this match to begin with, passed out, and he was the one who was the final shot that Kross had the sleeper hold on and made pass out. Karrion Kross wins and retains the NXT Championship. And that was the way TakeOver ended. He sold the shot of him holding up the belt with Scarlett. They were in the ring. They were on the ramp. They did their thing. I was expecting something to happen at the end of the show, and then all of a sudden we get William Regal walking out of his office, and Mackenzie Mitchell went up to him and asked William Regal about the events of In Your House TakeOver tonight. He said he's been GM for 7 years, and he's never seen so much bedlam. I think it's time for a change. A new GM on NXT is not going to shake the foundation of NXT. William Regal is ingrained in this brand just like anybody else backstage is ingrained in this brand. William Regal is NXT. I do not see him walking away and relinquishing the GM role. That would make William Regal weak. I don't think William Regal is weak. William Regal wants order. William Regal wants something restored in NXT that somehow got lost in translation here. William Regal should not come off as weak. I do think that William Regal stays, and I do think we get some drastic decisions. I think we get some shakeup on NXT that is really going to make TV interesting moving forward going into SummerSlam, because God knows that they need it. I'm predicting, it might not happen, but I'm predicting with Kross winning the championship tonight and this bedlam still potentially happening on Tuesday, I think Kross is going to be forced to relinquish the championship just because there's nothing more for him to do. I don't think Kross should be set up to lose the NXT championship. I think William Regal is going to force something to happen that moves Kross to the main roster. We all know he's ready. We all know that he doesn't need NXT anymore. This is the type of guy that Vince would fucking drool over with Scarlett. Drew McIntyre is going to need opponents for SummerSlam. Do you want to do Kross versus McIntyre? Could happen. I'd much rather take that than Jinder Mahal or anybody else. I mentioned Finn Balor, but I don't see Finn Balor moving up to the main roster until we get to the draft. Maybe something happens before then that sends Kross to Monday Night Raw in a potential trade, and Kross will be McIntyre's problem after Hell in a Cell. Sounds like a good idea to me. Kross retains the NXT Championship. Very good main event match, but still, these TakeOver shows do not elicit the type of excitement that TakeOver shows used to have. They need to get the fuck out of the Capitol Wrestling Center. That crowd should be ashamed of themselves tonight, being 300 deep. It sounded like fucking 20 in attendance. I heard no difference between what I usually hear on Tuesday night and a jam-packed Capitol Wrestling Center with over 300 people. You got to get out, and TakeOver needs to get back to being TakeOver. Thank you guys so much for all your support, man. I really appreciate all of you coming out and hanging out with me. It's about time we get into the Super Chats, man. We got some Super Chats to go over. Get them on in. We're going to hang out until the end of the stream tonight. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. It's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. And make sure you guys go check out all the other content that you might have missed. Off the Script Live today. Go check it out, episode 380. The SmackDown and AEW Dynamite Super Show from Friday night that was uploaded on Saturday. That's live as well. If you guys want my thoughts on SmackDown and AEW, it's all on the channel for you. I would appreciate all of your support. And once again, thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring today's show. Manscaped.com. You guys are going to use code SCRIPT20 at checkout for 20% off. Starting off for the top man, Jacob Donnelly with a $5 super chat. Decided to pass on TakeOver tonight, but always going to support the show. Hope your trip to Texas was great. Bro, listen, I had some great Mexican food. Had some great craft beer. Other than the internet issues, I had a very good time, man. The humidity was fucking crazy, though. I'll tell you that, man. The humidity is crazy. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, man. One of those things, man, if you move into Texas, I think the number one priority before even finding a house is getting an air conditioner. Awful. Hooligan with a $5 super chat. Part of NXT's problem, aside from the venue, is that they have turned Vic Joseph into Michael Cole 2.0. Glad you are home and okay, JD. Hashtag OTS for life. Vic Joseph is fucking awful, man. Vic Joseph is just an awful commentator. His excitement is so forced. I used to not think that way. But I hear him and I hear him do, every move. Oh! It's not what I call commentary. Sounds like he's watching something on the internet he shouldn't be watching. Michelle Moran. $5 super chat. Hello, JD. Triple H using main roster mentality. Kross beats all the top guys at once and leaves almost nobody to credibly challenge him, like Triple H from 2001. I'm glad I'm not the only one seeing it. That's what it certainly feels like. Triple H has a main roster mentality, not even with this decision with Karrion Kross, but with his comments coming out of the conference call before TakeOver this week. Thank you, Michelle, for the $5. Reese with a $19.99 super chat. Mr. No Days Off. It's great. Back to being Mr. No Days Off. Thank you, Reese. Mr. Cake with a $5 super chat. The CWC burnout is real. Trips needs to start looking for other venues ASAP. Absolutely. Red Pie with a $2 super chat. NXT is on TikTok. Is that's break WWE three-party brand. I don't know what you mean by that. NXT's on TikTok. I don't really give a shit about TikTok. I got one, but I don't use it. Who gives a shit? Nate with a $4.99 super chat. Can't hear you. Can you hear me now? Walter vs. Kross, SummerSlam weekend. Book it. Mr. Cake, $2 super chat. Me, Mark ED. Technical difficulties, please. Please stand by. Yes, I got that situated. Thank you. DX Tricksters with a $10 UK super chat. I hope that Regal will not leave. He's the best GM since Bischoff. Why would they want to change him? He's a perfect GM. What the hell are they doing? I hope I explained it the way that I could, man. I explained it the best way that I could. I don't think William Regal's going anywhere. I don't think he's the problem. I think William Regal's the type of guy that's going to pinpoint the problem and then get rid of said problem. Overall, I felt this TakeOver was very underwhelming. It wasn't a bad show because it never is, but it was probably one of the worst TakeOvers in a while. I agree. Main event was great, though. PMAC with a $5 super chat. How was the Mexican food in Texas? It's okay. I don't care for it too much. You got to get some Mexican food out here in Cali. Bro, all the Mexican places that I went to were really good. I mean, it's not blow away, oh my God, I gotta fucking kill to have this Mexican food again, but it was great. It was really quality stuff. I went to this place called Torchy's. They had breakfast tacos, man. Oh my goodness. I had an egg and cheese breakfast taco with some nice red sauce. And I had a potato, egg, and cheese taco. Delicious. I actually wanted to go back there before I left, but I didn't have time to. I'll tell you what, man. Their craft beer scene down there is not really JD-esque. A lot of ales, a lot of American ales, a lot of lagers, a lot of IPAs. Not really my type of deal, man. I had to go find this brewery called Fourth Tap. They had a peanut butter and jelly porter with blackberry back end. It was brewed with some blackberry flavor, mixing peanut butter and jelly. It was fucking phenomenal. Bought myself a four pack of cans. Awesome. Continuing on with the super chats here, man. We got Mr. Cake with another $5 super chat. Kross feared the situation would happen between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. And I said, I think the fuck not. I love that ending. We got 4th Marine, Sergeant Bull Fisher's Raider, USMC. Thank you, JD. God bless you. Thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate you, bro. Mr. Cake, $5 super chat. I called it with LA Knight winning. Now DiBiase will see LA Knight is perfect for the title, but he'll be like, what the fuck is he doing because he's not worthy? Fourth Marine with a $2 super chat. Dexter Lumis is a superstar in the making. I agree. But he seems to be a little bit more humanized than I would have imagined. I think Dexter Lumis should go back to being creepy and very Undertaker-esque. I don't know what they're doing with him. Ryan Awesome with a $4.99 super chat. I don't know if it's just me, but I will like to see a Kross and Lumis interaction. No. Not gonna happen. Coiled Phoenix with a $10 super chat. Just wanted to send some love to you and the OTS family and to ask for prayers and good vibes for my niece who is having a very important doctor's visit tomorrow. Coiled, my thoughts and prayers are with your niece. Thank you for the $10 super chat. And if you guys are still in the chat here, man, give me those prayer emojis. Throw some heart emojis in there as well for Coiled Phoenix and her niece. And pray that this doctor's appointment tomorrow goes swimmingly. Thank you, Coiled. Anthony Hayes, $5 super chat. JD, your audio botch was more entertaining than a whole 3 hours. Listen, bro. You know how many times? Listen, man, I was watching a Dr. Disrespect stream months ago. He played a whole Warzone match. He played a whole Warzone match without even realizing he was muted the whole time. People in the chat were fucking no volume, no audio, this and that, fucking spamming his chat. People were spamming super chats, telling him that he had no audio. He made over $150 in super chats just by not having any audio. He comes back. He yelled at his sound guy. He yelled at his sound guy, Alex, for the whole mistake. And he's like, I made $150 or so in super chats. I should be on stream with no audio more often. It happens to the best, man. It happens to the best. Mr. Cake with a $2 super chat. JD, did you see the TakeOver press conference? No, I don't care. 4th Marine with a $5 super chat. Killer Kross is the man. He also says, I pray Regal doesn't touch Kross. I think that's what's going to happen, man. I think William Regal is going to do something, and Kross is going to be the recipient of William Regal's anger. Reese with the $4.99 super chat. JD, do you think there is such a thing as too much talent? Like maybe not everyone can be featured on TV? Yeah, it happens in AEW. AEW should trim their roster by 10 to 15 wrestlers themselves. There is such a thing as too much talent. WWE has too much talent that they're not even using. How many people that exist on WWE's roster right now, main roster, that they're not using? It's sad. It really is. That's pretty much it, guys. Super chats have come to an end. You guys were awesome tonight. I appreciate you sticking with me. Yo, Kev, what's up, bro? Touch Kross as in sexually. No, bro, he doesn't mean sexually. He means... I don't know how late you joined the party here, man, but I said Kross shouldn't be pinned for the title. Karrion Kross should not be pinned for the title. Well, listen, I'm gonna explain this again. I'm gonna shut Pilot off because Kev's in the chat. I know Kev's a big Karrion Kross guy, bro. Karrion Kross should not be pinned for the title. Okay. I have to respectfully disagree with you. I know I saw your tweet about Samoa Joe. I don't think Samoa Joe should even be a thought. Samoa Joe is not the right choice to beat Kross. If I was to choose one or the other, I think Joe is much better off going anywhere but WWE. I don't think Joe beating Kross is necessarily the right thing. Kross needs to make his main roster debut undefeated, meaning he should not be pinned. I don't know what's going to happen, but Joe is not the answer. It's either Kross loses to Walter, which anybody could believably see that. I don't even think that's the right thing, but I want to see it because I think they'd have a hell of a match. Kross loses to Walter. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think Kross relinquishing the NXT Championship is the right way to go about it. He gets traded to the main roster because William Regal needs change. Kross and everything that happened with these five guys is causing bedlam on his show. Trades Kross to Monday Night Raw. We bring a Monday Night Raw guy back. He feuds with McIntyre. He beats McIntyre for the WWE title at SummerSlam. Simple. And you build Monday Night Raw around Kross, giving him top-tier babyface opponents. But Kross should not be pinned for the title. At all. I think beating Kross is a mistake. I really do. That's just the way I see it, but everybody was talking about Samoa Joe. Listen, man, Samoa Joe could be brought in. WWE may be bringing back Samoa Joe. They may be talking about bringing Aleister Black back, but why did you fire these guys to begin with? Those guys, they're not difference makers in a sense like they're going to be ratings difference makers. They're going to be difference makers in, you're just aiding somebody's roster getting 1,000 times better with adding Black or Samoa Joe. Why would you fire them? I don't know, man. I think Joe is better off anywhere but NXT. It's almost a downgrade, like these geeks. Oh, Joe's going to show up at Slammiversary. No, he's not. Why would Joe show up at Impact Wrestling? Furious Nation with a $5 super chat. What's up, JD? TakeOver felt underwhelming tonight. Not bad, but they need to get back to Full Sail and normal Fort takeovers fast. I don't know, man. I don't think there's a difference between Full Sail and the Capitol Wrestling Center, but they need to get the fuck out of the Capitol Wrestling Center. Period. Fourth Marine with a $5 super chat. Thank you, JD. And Edgar Estrada coming in with a $100 super chat. Yo, JD, hope you had fun at the wedding. And sorry about the crazy weather. Give me a... Oh! Vic Joseph. And To the moon. Cameron Grimes. You're so freaking funny, bro. Acknowledge me, Goon. Have a great night. Edgar, thank you so much, brother. Love you, man. And Mr. Cake with a $5 super chat because Kross said he doesn't plan on staying on NXT forever. Could have been a fucking sign, man, that he's gone. Bruce can drool over Scarlett all he wants on Monday Night Raw. Guys, follow me on Twitter at JDfromNY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications and hit that subscribe button like I said, man. Join the OTS family. I'm getting out of here, guys. I got my now lukewarm beverage. Once again, I'm sorry for the mishap in the beginning with the no audio. But I got to get back to normal here, man. We're back to normal. Another great episode of the podcast tonight. I need two things from you guys. One, those guitar emojis in the chat. And number two, that music you're listening to now, man, on max. I'm getting in the Mustang. The air conditioner's on. No windows down tonight, man. Sweat my balls off. I'll see you guys for Monday Night Bore tomorrow night, live on the podcast. I'll see you guys later.